All right. So the homeroom teacher invented a way of drawing to cast a lot to draw a number out of the class. All right. How does that work? Each of the students will think of one non-negative integer, and the teacher will sum them up. Teacher will sum them up, add them all up, all right? And then from number 1, they will, how do you say this? I don't know. I don't really know. I'm sorry. Start at number 1, they will tell the numbers from 1. Okay? They will say the numbers from 1, count the numbers from 1. For the first run, each student will say their own number, right? What is the last number in your class? 29. So 29 will say 29, right? And then it will come back to number 1. But this time, number 1 will not say 1. What's the number he will say next? He will say 30, all right? And number 2 will say 31, and so on. Do you understand the way of drawing works? Do you understand that? Any question about this way of drawing? Any question? Is this way of drawing seems fair to you? Is it fair? No? Why not? Why isn't it fair? Why not? Why isn't that fair? Why don't you think that's fair? I myself think it is fair. It is fair. However, it will take a long time to finish. All right? It will take a very long time to finish this process. So, they turn to you. They heard that Teacher Snell is a very good computer programming teacher. And they also heard that each of you are very good computer after taking Teacher Snell's class. So they want you to write a program for them, giving you all the integers that each student think of. And then you have to tell them who has been drawn. Who has been drawn? I'm sorry. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you understand the problem of this one? Yes. If there are 5 students, and these are the 5 integers each of the students thinks of. All right? And the teacher will sum them all up. What is the sum of these 5 integers? What is the total of these 5 integers? 15, right? So they will start to say the number in the class. The first one will say 1, the second one will say 2, the last one will say 5. That's the first run. What about the second run? So the first one will say 1, the second one will say 2, 3, 4, and the last one will say 5, right? If the second one, the first one will say 6, and the next one will say 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, right? And then on the second run, on the third run, the first one will say 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, etc., right? And is this the sum? Is this the sum that we have got from all the integers that each student gives, right? So who has been drawn? Number 5, right? Number 5 has been drawn. Number 5 is the one who has been picked. Is there any question? Do you know what I'm talking about? What about a second example? If there are 4 students, and each of the students thinks of they will give one integer, and these are the 4 integers given by the 4 students. And what is the total of these 4 integers? 6, right? And then the first student will say 1, the second will say 2, 3, the last one will say 4. That's the first run. On the second run, the first one will say 5, the second one will say 6. Oh, who's got 6? Number 2's got 6, right? So the answer is number 2. Do you understand the problem right now? But how do you do that? In a very quick way. Copy my answer is the fastest way. All right. For this one, we need to use the fourth one. Why? Why do we need to use the fourth one? Why? Because they are integers. We need to convert those strings into integers, right? And is there more than one number? Yes, so we need to use splits and map. All right? Any question? So we use the fourth method, the fourth way, the fourth pattern of input. All right? Any question so far? When you see this, you need to use the fourth one. All right? And then what do we print out? What do we print out? What's the answer? Actually, the only thing that you need to do is take the sum. I'm sorry, for this problem, I would like to teach you to use sum. Sum is actually the one of the 65 built-in functions in Python. Okay, we have used the max before, right? It also got a function called sum. What is a sum? Sum is the results that you get from additions. If you add 2 numbers up, if you add 2 numbers, the result is the sum of these 2 numbers. Do you know what I'm talking about? And what is the result of how do you call the results of the subtraction of two numbers? Subtraction. Do you know what subtraction is? Subtraction? Addition? Addition? Subtraction? And the result of the subtraction, I mean addition, we call it a sum. And how do you call the results of the subtraction? It's actually a very easy word that you have learned before. Very easy one. Difference. That's why we always use delta to represent the difference in math. Delta. All right? Delta. Understand? Okay? So what is the result of the multiplication? What is the result of the multiplication? Multiplication. It's also a word that you learned before, but you will never think of that. You will never relate to that. You will never relate to that word. It's called product. Did you see that word before? Yes. But it means the result of multiplication in math. All right? And what is the result of a division? No, multiplication is not this. Multiplication is this. And what is the division? You play the sound. Quotient. Quotients. Do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know what intelligence quotient is? Exactly. That is IQ. All right? Any question? No question? All right, that's good. So sum will actually give you the total of the integers in S. All right? So now we have the sum of S. We have sum of S. And what do we do next? We divide it by the number of students in class. That will get you the answer of it. That will get you the answer of that. See, what is the total of these four? 6. What is the remainder of the division? What is the remainder of 6 divided by 4? 2. So that's the answer. All right? Any questions at all? No? So is this the answer to the problem? No. No. It is not the answer to the problem. This answer has got 2 problems to be solved. 2 problems. The first problem, you will see that by executing, by running this program. All right? So let's run this program and then you'll see. Run module. Save it. And then we try to input that 0, 1, 2, 3. Enter. You got an error message saying object of type map has no length. You cannot apply length function to S. So you cannot do this. You cannot do length function. You cannot apply length functions on a map object. You see that? If I have a T is equal to 1, 2, 3, then T is a list. You can see the contents of T. All right? But if you want to see the contents of S, it will tell you S is a map object without let you see what is inside. It only tells you S is a map object without letting you know what is inside. So, object of map, which is S. S is a map object or object of type map. Has no length. You cannot use length on S like this. No way. You cannot do that. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do to solve this problem? Can we use len length function on a list? Can we do that? Yes, it will tell you 3 because T has got 3 integers inside. All right? Any question? But len cannot be used on S because map object has no length. That's what it's trying to tell you, all right? So what do we do? If map doesn't have length and list has it, the list has it, can we convert the map into a list? Can we do that? Can we? Yes, we can. But how? But how? Let's review this. How do you convert a integer, a string to an integer? We use int, all right? And then you will convert a string. Int will convert a string into an integer. Any question? All right. What if you want to convert a integer to a string? If you want to convert an integer to a string and then you use str, it will convert it to a string, all right? You will convert it to a string like that. Any question? Understand? So what do we do if we want to convert as a map object into a list? If we want to convert it to an integer, we say int. If we want to convert it to a string, we say str. If we want to convert something, now S is a map, all right? If we want to convert S into a list, what do we do? Just use list. Just use this, and then you will convert it into a list like that. Do you see that? So for the 69 built-in functions, they are all in there. Do you see that int right here? What does it do? What does int do? To convert something into an integer, right? What does str do? To convert something into a string, right? What does a list do? To convert something into a list, of course. Do you know what I'm talking about? Any question? So, for here, this is what we do. This is what we do. Applying the list functions on map will convert a map object into a list and then save it in S. Then we can apply length function on S, which is a list, not a map object anymore. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Any question? Any question? No question? Okay. Then we run it again. Now we have 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got 2. Are you happy about that? Yes. Is this the answer to it? Not yet. Did I tell you there are 2 problems in that program? We solved only 1. But, sir, this program runs okay. It gives you 2, which is the right answer. What about the first one? What about the first one? Let me run it again and then give you the first set of testing data. First set of the testing data, it will give you 0 instead of 5. Because what is the remainder of 15 divided by 5? This is 15 and this is 5. What is the remainder? Not the quotient. I'm not asking you for quotients. I'm asking you for the remainder. What is a quotient? And what is a remainder? I'm asking you for the remainder. This is the remainder. This will give you the remainder. This, if you use this, you'll get 3. But this is not what we use. We use this percentage sign, which will give you what? 0. Which will give you 0. Because 15 can be fully divided by 5, right? Without any remainder. Is there any question? So what do we do now? What do we do now? What can we do? What can we do to solve this problem? Well, I will just let you know the answer. And let you figure out why on yourself, all right? You need to figure it out yourself. I will minus 1 first before I get the remainder, and then add 1 back on. For most of the numbers, this doesn't affect the results. When I subtract 1 from the sum, the previous students, the student before that will be drawn, will be picked, right? But if you add 1 and then the same student will be picked. But for the case that can be divided the multiple of the length, then -1 will give you the remainder of length -1, and then if you add 1 back on, it will give you the number of students. All right? Any question about this one? If you do that to the program, do that modification on the program, then this time you'll get 5. And that's the answer to the problem. So this is the answer. Any question? Any question? No question. All right. Let me do the next one. The next one is, I need to find out how to say that in English. And this one. Fluorine. Located in north side, diagonally, fluorine. Fluorine's got an ice cream parlor on diagonally. All right. Okay, that's the English name of those. All right. Okay, so diagonally is a developed old community, and the availability of the space is very, very difficult. But people want to build a bigger house, but a bigger piece of land is harder to get. Therefore, the bigger the land is, the higher the price is. Actually, in diagonally, the price of the land is calculated by the square of the area of the land. Do you know what I'm talking about here? If you don't understand my English, read the Chinese, all right? Okay? Now, fluorine has got a piece of land in the shape of a triangle. You'll be given the size of the triangle, and you need to calculate how much that piece of land is worth. So now you are given the size of a triangle. You need to figure out what the area of that triangle is, and then square it. Then that's the answer to this problem. What can you think of to solve this problem when you are given 3 numbers, 3 sides of a triangle, and to calculate the area of that triangle? Exactly, I know that's what you are murmuring. Exactly, that's what you are thinking about, all right? And I also forgot what to say that in English. Now I have to check it up, all right? Okay, area. from sides of a triangle. Area of a triangle given 3 sides. How do you read that? Heron. I will pronounce it as Heron, all right? Heron's formula. And what is Heron's formula? This is the Heron's formula, all right? Okay? You know that because it is covered in the first midterm. How did you do in the How did you do in the math midterm? Pretty bad. All right. So, how do we do this problem? I will do that for you. All right. Now we'll have a S is equal to map int inputs dot splits. Then we'll have P is equal to S0 plus S1 plus S2 divided by 2. Then we'll print out what are we going to print out? P times P minus S0 times P minus S1 then times P minus S2. Is this the answer to the problem? Is this the answer to the problem? Hello? 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 Is this the answer? No? Why not? Why not? What about the square root? What about the square root? Do we do the square root? No? So is that right? All right, here. The price of the land is actually the square of the area. So do we need to get the square root? No, you don't need to get the square root. This is the square of the area. When you do that without getting the square root, all right? So is this right? Is this the right answer to the problem? No. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why isn't the answer? It looks like an answer to me. Those who think this is the right answer, please raise your hand. Those who don't think so, please raise your hand. Why not? Why not? Why not? Number 20. Why not? Well, it is not. It is not the answer. All right? You will know why not by executing it. All right, look carefully. Look carefully what the message that you will get? So what do we get? An error message. What does the message say? Map object is not subscriptable. What is a subscript? Do you remember that? I told you before, what is a subscript? But you forgot about it. You forgot what a subscript is. Oh no. Okay, new one. I would like to get a new one. This one. Okay, here. All right, if you have a series called A, what is the first item of A? What is the first item of A, series A? The first item, A1, right? But is this how you type it? This is the subscript. Do you remember what a subscript is? All right? This is a subscript. If you don't remember what the Chinese is, you can see that here. All right? This is a subscript. But that's not how we do it in Python. How do we do a subscript in Python? How do we do a subscript in Python? This is how you do a subscript in Python. All right? This is the subscript in Python. But what does the error message say? What does it say? Map object is not subscriptable. What does that mean? What does that mean? You cannot use subscript on map object. Why? I will tell you why later. But I'm going to tell you how to solve it first. How are we going to solve it? Can we use a subscript on a list? Can we? Can we use a subscript on a list? Yes. So what do we do now? We convert it to a list. Exactly. You're smart. All right. You're smart. So we convert these map objects into a list, and I misspelled it.